discrimination, inequality, and our fight against it. I would say that the youth are critically involved with these notions, depicting an image that our generation are excessively serious and are unable to live a carefree life. For instance, during the election period of 2022, many Kakantig supporters were within the age bracket as ourselves. Many ridiculed them for why would they concern themselves with these political conceptualizations and notions systems that when they can't even vote yet. It doesn't start there and it does not even end there as we advocate for a wide spectrum concerning inequality. But the real question is, are we succeeding or are we failing?
Before we answer this question, let us first magnify the roots of this emerging notion of liberalism. It all began when society as a collective started recognizing as well as acknowledging the oppression, discrimination, and lack of equal opportunities provided to certain sectors of society, despite not being directly affected by these forms of injustice. A concrete example of this phenomenon is the moment men recognize as well as acknowledge women's oppression and prejudice. Men are not affected by these injustices. In many circumstances, men are the oppressors. However, from fighting for their own individual rights, they start advocating for the rights of those sectors they are not a part of, which states the emergence of this notion, starting the pattern of this trend.
So the trend is where we go beyond being aware na about the barriers restricting us from the fostering inequality. Quality na, sir, like the integration of liberal principle in social issues. But we should highlight na the equality we have to try to achieve does not advocate the equality of the outcome, which means although this principle believe that everyone must have access to equality, it is not guaranteed that by the end of the day we'll end up in the same stance, as the outcome must still determine how individuals respond or utilize that equal opportunity we mentioned. Invest efforts, individual that may possibly be unique capabilities and our decision making. This is what we mean by equality. We are not trying to modify the course of mature wherein we are in fact generated uniquely processing uniquely innate characteristics and traits, but changing the customs of inequality. This is the socially engraved na it's more like challenging the norms, not the nature, which can add sa trendy na where conceptualize what equality exact is the youth trying to attain. Yeah, the key point there is the equal opportunity for all by all women, gender, race, and etc. etc. And I think that's all. So thank you. I'll
With liberalism being an ideology practiced widely in various parts of the globe, and considering its influence on society and practices nowadays, the concept of liberalism can actually be a trend that could go mainstream and be accepted by people in 10 years. As society evolves, the concept of liberalism has also evolved from one that focused on individuals gaining control over their rights to one that also advocates for other people in society in order to ensure that each individual's rights are protected. Due to the influence of liberalism on society, laws regarding individual rights such as gender equality, same sex marriage, racial justice, and freedom of expression have been implemented and continue to be refined in many countries. These laws reflect the liberal belief that every individual, regardless of their background, deserves equal protection and opportunities, showing us how equality is viewed in the concept of liberalism. As more societies embrace these principles, liberalism's values become increasingly embedded in legal systems, public policies, and everyday interactions. Over the next decade, the growing focus on human rights, social justice, and inclusivity could push liberalism further into the mainstream, especially as younger generations, who tend to be more supportive of progressive causes, take on leadership roles in advocating for them. If liberalism continues to successfully address pressing global issues like inequality, climate change, and discrimination, it is likely that its ideals will gain even broader acceptance, solidifying its place as a dominant ideology in the future.